About 9,000 years ago, a humid climate prevailed in some parts of the world's deserts. For several thousand years, green deserts have been home to many animals and humans. Archaeologists and anthropologists have found many interesting things that will surprise you. Cemetery of marine mammals in the middle of the desert. In 2010, during the construction of a new road in the Atacama Desert, workers discovered the remains of almost 40 prehistoric whales and other ancient marine life. How did they end up in the desert? And why did so many different species die almost simultaneously and in the same place? These questions tormented paleontologists. In the end, the most likely explanation is that whales, fish, and other marine animals died here 6 to 9 million years ago, when there was still an ocean here. And the cause of death could have been poisonous algae. Due to the fact that this place eventually formed a desert, the remains were preserved in excellent condition. People are giants. Many legends of the world speak of giant people, giants, titans. We are often informed about the findings of people of abnormal growth in different parts of the globe. So maybe our ancestors were giants. A Stone Age burial was discovered in the Sahara Desert. The age of the remains is about 5,000 years. In 2006, about 200 graves were found. All of them were distinguished by high growth, more than 6.5 feet. Fossils of giants were found in Turkey. The bone of a man's leg was 4 feet. On this basis, the person's height should be 16 feet. In China, people were found whose height was 9 to 10 feet and weighed 660 pounds. In Australia, anthropologists found a petrified tooth with a height of 2.5 and a width of 1.5 inches. It is estimated that the owner of the tooth should be 24 feet tall and weigh 815 pounds. Analysis determined the age of this find at 9 million years. It is assumed that all the main monuments of antiquity, the Egyptian pyramids, Stonehenge, Sphinx, were built by these giants. According to scientists, the giants is the race that preceded us. Scientists and anthropologists even found drawings on the stones of the Incas. They were discovered in Peru. And these drawings show that people lived with dinosaurs. Comparing these drawings, the scientists discovered an amazing fact. A man and a dinosaur had approximately the same proportions. Perhaps giant people also lived in the era of the dinosaurs. Libyan desert glass. Libyan desert glass is the most rare natural mineral, of which a pendant was made from the tomb of Tutankhamun. What is the rarest mineral on Earth? Many will immediately think of precious metals. Some, the diamond and its color varieties. However, most likely, this is the material from which this scarab is made. Libyan desert glass. These are small pieces of light green or light yellow shade, and sometimes they are transparent. They are almost entirely composed of silicon oxide and appear to have formed at temperatures over 2,000 degrees. The age is estimated at 30 million years. The history of its formation is not fully understood. The most common theory is that long ago a huge meteorite crashed into the desert or exploded directly above it. From the impact of such a force, a crater formed, the sand melted, and the liquid mixture spread out over a large area. Because of the rapid cooling during the flight, the sand turned into glass. Over time, the wind and sand polished the pieces of glass to shine. Snow in the desert. The phrase, "snow in the desert," sounds like nonsense, but it happens. In December 2016, snow fell in the Sahara Desert. According to a photographer who managed to capture this unique phenomena, the snow lay for about a day and then began to melt. This phenomenon is extremely rare. Before that, snow last fell in the Sahara Desert 40 years ago. Mummified hand. In Peru, scientists found a mummified hand with 3 8-inch fingers. The hand was found in the desert, in a tunnel, where the Incas buried people. Later, scientists discovered an elongated head, which, like the hand, belonged to something unknown to science. The origin of the 3-fingered hand is difficult to ascertain. Scientists are carefully studying the finiteness, already conducted research using X-rays. The picture showed the presence of 5 joints and 5 bones. In other words, the structure of the hand differs from that which is characteristic of man. In addition, a fingernail and a piece of metal ring under the skin were seen on the arm, and the palm itself was broken in several places. The people of Nazca. These people became famous due to the huge mysterious drawings put on the surface of the Nazca Desert in Peru. And why not? After all, the size of each image is about 165 feet in length. Of course, there are several mystical versions about the origin of these drawings. For example, what the drawings did for the landing of ships of extraterrestrial civilizations. But scientists tend to view that the Nazca people use their hieroglyphs to communicate with the gods, moving along the contour of the picture. Among the images, you can see a monkey, a spider, a bird, and even a human being. It looks like an astronaut. This despite the fact that the images were made 1.5 thousand years ago. The Nazca made small trenches in the ground at a depth of 8 inches and thus created drawings. And only thanks to the desert climate, they have survived to this day. No less mysterious was the disappearance of the people in the 6th century AD. Perhaps this was due to a drought. To be more precise, however, it has not yet been possible to establish. The missing army of the Persian king of Cambyses II. The myriad of bones, jewels, and weapons found by Italian archaeologists in the Egyptian desert could be the remnants of the army of Cambyses II, son of Cyrus the Great. According to history, 2,500 years ago, this powerful army disappeared without a trace. Remnants of a mighty army of Persians were scattered in the sands of the western Egyptian desert. The sensational discovery will allow one of the most outstanding secrets of archaeology to be solved, say scientists. Bronze weapons, a silver bracelet, earrings, and hundreds of human bones are found in the huge Sahara, where humans' feet have never stepped. The event gave rise to hopes that the lost army of the Persian king Cambyses II, who was buried by a catastrophic sandstorm in 525 BC, is finally found. Lost plane. A random finding was made by an oilman exploring a remote area of the western desert in Egypt. The tail numbers of the Kitty Hawk P-40 were untouched, which allowed researchers to trace its origin and service history. A senior aviation sergeant, Kopping, was a pilot of a unit based in Egypt during the North African campaign against Rommel. Is believed to have lost his way flying the damaged Kitty Hawk to the airbase. All that is known is that he left course and did not arrive at the base. Since that day in 1942, the mystery of what happened was lost, in the literal sense, in the sands of time. According to the surviving remains of the aircraft, it can be concluded that he made a forced landing. The plane lies practically intact next to a shelter, which, most likely, Dennis Kopping made when he was waiting for rescue. Remarkably, the aircraft remained almost untouched for the next 7 decades. The weapons and ammunition found near it, most of the cockpit devices are intact, and a twisted propeller is a few steps from the plane. Judging by the picture on the site of the crash, the pilot must have survived the catastrophe. Judging by the parachute down next to the plane, the pilot supposedly used it to protect himself from the sun. The radio and batteries were outside the plane, and it looks like he tried to work with the walkie-talkie. If he died on board the plane, his remains would have been found. But since after crashing no one came after him, it's more likely that he tried to get out of the desert but ended up being killed. Geyser fly. Meet this famous geyser called fly. Minerals, algae, and cyanobacteria give it this incredible color. The flow of hot water of the geyser fly does not cease for a second. The geyser constantly throws out 3 jets. At present, its height is almost 5 feet, and if you take into account the surrounding terraces and the natural elevation, it will be about 13 feet. At one time, there was the Fly Ranch on the site of this geyser. In 1916, the owner of the ranch drilled a well, hoping to turn the desert into fertile wet meadows, but accidentally stumbled upon a geothermal pocket of water. Not reaching the desired goal, the well was covered. Only a few decades later, in 1964, boiling water from under the ground began to break through the hole to the surface. At the same time, a beautiful little fountain was formed, eventually creating this colorful beauty. The underground water of this turbulent region is full of various minerals and algae. The geyser began to form walls which grew and hardened. The minerals painted this miracle in bright colors, but no one knew about it. It was surrounded by swamps and lost among the rest of the landscape. Magic circles in the Namib Desert. In some areas of the Namib Desert, where there is little vegetation, strange circles were discovered. The origin of this phenomenon was not known for hundreds of years. It is in these circles that vegetation is completely absent, despite something growing all around them. Plus, the incredible shapes of circles and their size, reaching up to 40 feet in diameter, gave birth to many myths and speculations. Local residents called them traces of God, as well as the result of the fiery flame of an underground dragon. But only in recent years have scientists found the solution to this phenomenon. As a result, the most plausible version is they are smoothed by termites, who arrange their homes in such a bizarre geometric form. In the process, they try to take all the water for themselves, and as a result, it is very difficult for plants to survive on the place where their colony was. Termites do not climb on the territory of a foreign colony, and because of this, many individual circles are formed. That is all, everyone. If you liked the video, put a like and leave a comment.